What is going on, everyone, and welcome to another Warframe video. I'm Baus Phoenix, and today I wanted to make a quick guide video for some of you newer players to kind of help set you on the right path in Warframe and get you thinking about some of what I think are the more important resources in the game that you should be collecting a ton of when you come across them. Now, before we start, yes, I realize that some of these resources will be in higher level areas, but some of them don't even appear until higher level areas. Warframe does have a very helpful community, though, and it's very easy to get into a clan or ask a veteran for help. They'll usually take you along with them to farm, so keep that in mind if you're too new to solo these places. Anyway, enough disclaimers, let's roll the intro. Roubaix Dough is our first resource, and coincidentally enough, it's one of the first resources in the game that you'll see. Roubaix Dough is on this list because it's used in the production of the majority of Warframe helmets, Warframe chassis, and many other weapons. It's an uncommon resource that can be a pain to farm, and you usually need a ton of it to make anything that requires it, but once you get past a certain point in playing the game, you'll notice that you always have more than enough to make what you want. You can usually find Roubaix Dough pretty easily on Earth or Phobos. Lastly, I highly suggest doing a defense mission on either of these planets. For example, the Gulliver node on Phobos would be a great choice. Just bring a group of buddies for best results. Neural sensors are our next important resource, and these are on the list because you'll need them to build just about every Warframe helmet in the game. Thankfully though, they show up fairly early in your progression through the game, as you can find them on Jupiter. Now keep in mind that these are a rare resource, so they'll be tough to find in your average mission. That's why just about any player you come across that's been playing for any amount of time will recommend that you kill Alertiam on the Themisto node of Jupiter over and over again, seeing as he has a very high chance to drop one or two after each fight. Do this a few times a day, and you should have all the neural sensors you'll ever need. Also, if you're having trouble with Alid solo, just set your squad to open, as people are always farming him. Plasids are the third resource on this list, and I've included them because if you want to build any clan tech weapons or contribute to research in your clan's dojo, you'll need to have tons of these things. The crappy part is that they're classified as an uncommon resource, and they can be a real pain to farm. When they do drop, it's usually in low amounts, and they don't really show up commonly in low-level areas, but the first place you can find them is on Phobos, and if you're going here, I recommend doing the defense mission on Memphis. The best place to farm them, though, is going to be the Dark Sector defense mission Akkad on Eris. If you're new to the game, though, I highly suggest bringing your experienced friends, as Eris is a fairly high-level planet. Our fourth resource is the infamous Nitane, or Alertiam as you'll sometimes hear it called by the community. This is probably the most annoying resource to get a hold of in Warframe, as the only way it can be acquired is through timed alerts spread throughout the day. Regardless of all of that, it's still important to have, as more and more weapons in Warframe have it as a resource in their crafting requirements. Thankfully, you can stockpile this stuff as much as you want, as it doesn't degrade or vanish after a set period of time like argon crystals do. My best advice for this is to subscribe to the Warframe Alerts Twitter account to be notified of when alerts for Nitane go live. You'll want to do as many of these alerts as you can if you plan on building any quote-unquote modern Warframes and weapons. Resource number 5 on the list is the ever-versatile Polymer Bundle. A good majority of the things you'll make in the game use these little guys, and if you're like me and blow through energy, ammo, and health restorers, you'll always want to have a good amount of these on hand. Thankfully, they're a very common resource, and you get a good bunch of them in each resource drop container. A good place for early players to farm this resource would be on Tessera Venus, but they're far more common on any of the Uranus survival or defense missions as well. Another benefit to farming Uranus for these is that you can also get Plasids, but this is a fairly high level area, and I don't recommend new players going here alone. Nano Spores are our sixth resource, and like Polymer Bundles, these things are extremely common. You can farm thousands of these in just minutes on certain missions with the right group setup. For me personally, this is my most needed resource. I build a lot of restore pads, and these are the primary ingredient. Aside from those, you'll also need Nano Spores for various and sundry other items in the game. Thankfully, they show up in a lot of different places. For instance, one of the first places you can farm them in the star chart would be Saturn, and I highly recommend doing one of the defense or survivals there, as you can net about 3,000 per 5 defense waves, or 3 survival minutes. Secondly, Akkad Eris remains another fantastic place to farm this resource as well. Our last resource is the ever-present Orokin cell. Like neural sensors, these are a rare resource that you'll need to craft a plethora of different items in the game. They're most commonly used in making Forma, as well as different Warframe pieces, and you'll want to have a bunch of these on hand. One thing too is that a lot of newer players confuse these for the catalysts and reactors that increase Warframe mod and capacity points. Orokin cells, while very similar in appearance to their highly sought after twins, are merely a resource. I haven't really found a fantastic place to farm them since the star chart rework, as I used to just run Draco. However, I have consistently gotten them from Sargus Ruck, the boss on Saturn, so not much has changed there. Lech Krill and Voron Ceres also drop them, but I haven't had as much luck with these two as I have with Sargus. It's your choice though. And that's gonna do it for today, ladies and gentlemen. We've just covered 7 resources I think are really important to have a stockpile of in your inventory. I know there are a ton of resources in the game, but these are just the ones that I feel are used most commonly. If you enjoyed this video or just found it helpful, do me a huge favor and leave a like down below. You have no idea how much that helps me out. Additionally, consider subscribing if you're new here. I put out new Warframe content daily, and I need as many subs as I can get to pay for the view bots everyone thinks I'm using. Anyway guys, I'm Baus Phoenix, I'll see you at the next video, and as always, thank you so much for watching.